Hey there, I'm Amber Erickson Hurdle, and I had to do this video this year because I've done it for so many years. And even though I did it on the Bombshell Business Podcast, which we sunsetted this year, I still have to do this video because we've been doing this every year together and it just has to be done. So there's that. Anywho, this episode is the year-end episode where we reflect on 2024 or the current year that we're in, and then we cast our vision to the next year. And so, what that looks like is looking at our results from last year, and I'm going to walk you through that with me, using me as an example because I can't talk about my customers because that would be violating our non-disclosures. And so I'll just, spill my guts because I do all the time and I don't care. Judge me if you want, whatever. We're going to reflect on how things went this past year, and then we're going to turn our attention to, okay, in light of that, what are the five things we're going to leave behind for a successful new year? So we're leaving these things behind in the current year so that we have the space to have good things in the new year, and then five things to establish for a successful year. Let's go. Okay, so let's reflect on this year, which was a doozy of a year for me. Holy moly, was this a year for me on so many levels, but probably the most invasive was just my physical health. I'm a high energy person, high energy, and y'all, I'm tired. We'll get into that when we talk about some of these things. I won't get into all of it. Those of you who followed me, you kind of know what's happened this year. I will fill those of you in who are new to me. Now, this year, I picked somebody and I just put that I wasn't going to jump through hoops for this person. I wasn't actually leaving them behind. I just was going to stop jumping through hoops. It's like value exchange, fine, but I am not a part of your circus. And it worked really great. And this person is still in my life. This person has never worked for me or anything like that. So I don't, let's not take guesses. This person's been in my life for some time and it's not my best friend. I feel like I need to qualify this. But anyways, this person is a lovely person, just lacks boundaries sometimes and lacks some emotional intelligence. And so I just wanted to have my boundary really strong. And I'm very proud of myself because I did. There was this person never knew. This person hopefully never felt it. And so nothing was impacted. The only thing that needed to change was my perspective and my expectations and my behavior. So that's why we go through these exercises. Now, if there's somebody that you just really need to leave behind, I encourage you to do that. And I I have a very unilateral response to that this year. Okay, the second one is one activity that moves you away from your goals. And so mine was taking too many non-strategic coffee Zooms. Now, Christina, my assistant, if she was sitting here right now, she'd be rolling her eyes because she probably thinks I still do, but comparatively, I don't. And the reality is, y'all, like if I mean, just even, oh, bless their bones, these people that are desperate for work and looking for opportunities to serve, and they just hammer you. And I finally just had to say, like, listen, buddy, if I responded to everybody who pitched me in my direct messages, I wouldn't sleep. So I get a lot of requests for coffee Zooms, and I'm like, that's an hour taken away from my customers. That's an hour away from being CEO. That's an hour away from my friends. Like, I still have friends that I need to call that I've been trying to reach for months now that we just haven't gotten on the same page. So why would you think that I'm going to give that time to you? So that was, again, that was a me thing of just having to find the language to tell people I can't. I just can't. I don't have the time. I really don't. And it's not a I'm better than you thing. It's just that I don't have the time to constantly be like, let's network. Like, if you're saying that you're networking, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So, one belief that has no evidence to support it. Uh, and this, woo hoo hoo, hard lesson. So a lot of us, especially overachievers, we have this like we have to meet all the expectations, we have to meet all of the needs to be quote good, to be like winning. And so I had to leave that belief behind, and I struggled on some of this, and I look at it every single day. Like, I'm literally looking at a picture frame with my vision board and my 2024 ads and leave behinds. And it's still a struggle when you're an empathetic person, when you're a giver, when your capacity is really large. It's hard. And I know a lot of you are like that. So just know that, like everybody else being happy is not your responsibility. And man, I had to really learn that this year through practice. So be careful what you put on your list. Okay. One habit that keeps you from being your best, I put like my sleep schedule, not having like a solid sleep schedule. And I was doing really well with that. Recently it's been a little bit off, but I will say that felt like I aligned with that. And then one tool or expense that you don't use or need, I got rid of my car wash because I had no reason to like really even go that far into my city. And so it just didn't make sense. So that was like a no-brainer. And five things to establish for a successful year. My word for 2024 was overflow, y'all. I'm not sure that I got overflow in the way that I thought I would. But upon listening to the song, because spoiler alert, it was my song of the year too, there was some resonance in that when I was listening to it the other morning. So I will address that when we get to number three. So, number one, pick your word of the year. Mine was overflow. Number two, pick your mantra for the year, radical acceptance. Ooh, wee boy. Owie, owie. When you tell the universe that you're going to radically accept whatever comes to you, is going to come to you. Let me just tell you what. So it was like, I radically accept this. I radically accept that this is what's happening and I'm going to keep trucking. Now, I got to give a special shout out to the baddies because I love y'all. And that's my girl gang that I talk to every single day of my life, and they've really been supportive of this radical acceptance. We all support each other. There's always somebody who is celebrating or needs, emotional support or whatever, when you have that many. But I've just felt incredibly supported in this. So again, when you set your intention that this is something that you're going to do, knowing that it might not always feel good, like notice it was pick your mantra for the year, not to be cozy, but to do the work. And so my work was just accepting what is, not ruminating on it, not trying to fix it. Sometimes try to fix it, but not taking ownership that it's mine to fix and just being like, that's what it is. I radically accept that that is what's real. And I'm not saying I did it perfectly because, like, literally today I'm struggling with that. But I think it has served me well in the long run of eyes wide open. Don't sugarcoat anything. Don't make excuses for people. Don't try to be superwoman. This is just what is. And that's the end of the sentence. And then pick your song of the year is I'm Getting Ready by Tasha Cobbs. Tasha Cobbs Leonard, rather. Sorry, Tasha. Featuring Nicki Minaj. So I'm really grateful that I picked that song because, see, there's those tears. I want to read you some lyrics real quick. Okay, so I think I cried when I read this, the Nicki Minaj part last year. I'm going to try not to this year because it's even more meaningful. But so the stanza goes, beach house vibes maneuver the jet ski, 'cause I serve a God that parted the Red Sea. That's powerful. And whether you believe in God or not, I do. And that's powerful to believe that you serve a God that parted the Red Sea. When you have radical acceptance and then faith in a power that big, that, by the way, we all hold in ourselves. Like, again, and this is not a Christian job that I have. Put in universe, put in whatever makes you comfortable. Fast forward through this part, whatever you need for you. When we're told that we're made in God's image and we understand that we are energetically connected to the power that creates worlds, and we're made in that image. We are made in that image. And when you hear that God is love, that means I am love because I'm made in his image. And so It's understanding that energetic connection that if he can part the Red Sea, he's got me. She's got me. However you want to perceive that. This energy, this source, this God that has created worlds and the intrinsic value of human beings and the interconnectedness of humanity as we're going into this very artificial virtual society, we need to have our spiritual grounding. So thank you for my soapbox moment, but that's what gets me is like I don't have to have all the answers. So back to Nikki's rap. Multi-million dollar commercials for Pepsi, from food stamps to more ice than Gretzky. Children, that's Wayne Gretzky, who was a very popular um, hockey player in the day of us old farts. Oh, I love this part. I don't gotta talk, the Lord defends me. I watch them all fall for going against me. Whoo, Lord, people have gone against me. And I'm just like, that's not my business. Radical acceptance, that's not my business. Cause me and all my angels shot the devil up while you was trying to pull me down, I leveled up. Y'all, I have done this so many times in my life. So many times. I had no idea what I was walking into this year. No idea. I was like, woo woo, we're gonna be ready. I'm gonna have abundance. Like, let's go. Oh boy. I leveled up twice. I leveled up 3 times. He tapped him and told him, she's mine. So even when I cried, I knew I'd be fine. Prepare for a miracle blessing in these times. Now praise him, raise him, name it, claim it. Every tongue that rises up against me, shame it. I breathe the success in and out my lungs. I got the power of life and death coming out my tongue. That's the power. That's why I picked that song. I thought that I was going to be ready for overflow, but what I understood is that this was a year of preparation. I thought that my years of preparation were done. No, that was just cleaning some stuff up. I cleaned some stuff up. This was a year of preparation, and I'm very appreciative of the very, very hard lessons that I've learned. And I want to encourage you, if you had a tough year, if you had a year where you were just like, what the heck? This is part of the journey, and it's what makes us stronger, and it prepares us for where we're going. And I've just done this enough in life to understand like this is just how it goes. So buckle up, buttercup, because good shiz is coming your way. Okay, and then again, for those of you who don't know, I thought I was going to have a quick hip replacement, and in a week I'd be up and running. And I had a very complicated and horrible surgery, pretty much worst case scenario. And I had to learn how to walk again, literally learn how to walk again. And I'm bringing that up now because I do create a song, like I definitely pick one song, but then I create a playlist. And so I had this, I'm getting ready, ready for overflow, where it just really talks about faith and trust and knowing that God has you. And then the second song on my playlist, you could check my social media because like I gave an update around my hip with a song to it. And it's the Foo Fighters learning to walk again. And I picked that song because like I was established in Florida. I've been here for a hot minute. I felt like I kind of had my bearings, and I launched a second company. I had my team in place and everything, and it just felt really hopeful. And and so I felt like, okay, I'm learning how to walk again like Amber. Oh no, no. I physically had to learn how to walk again. Home health came, like Florida was responsible for my life because I couldn't drive or walk or do anything crazy like that. So good times. And then for the vision board, I had, we won't get into all of this, but you know what? We will real quick, because not every vision necessarily comes true, but working towards the vision is the part that counts. So I'm just going to go in no particular order, just kind of like how it is on the board. I put some sports things on there because I wanted to go to more sports. Well, my little surgery kind of put a little bit in that, but I've gone to different sports activities. So, hockey game, baseball, all kinds of stuff. Then I have, of course, both of my kids and my son-in-law, my granddaughter on there, and I'm very proud of how much we've seen each other in the past year, despite living in three different states. I have a picture that is representative of the relationship values that we established last year in my partnership, my romantic partnership. And I know I have worked really hard on those. I have failed, but as we do. I mean, I'm not like being like I'm a failure, but I've failed. Relationships are hard, right? But I've really worked on it. And in doing that, I've actually been able to make some progress in some areas that I knew I needed to make progress in. The arts, all that kind of stuff, definitely got to experience a lot of that. My Bible verse was, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And whoo, I'll tell you what, when you can't take the stage, you can't travel, guess what you're doing? Processes, admin work, all kinds of stuff. And it has been soul sucking. I've hated my job this year, just being honest. I've hated it because I haven't been able to get out and speak. I obviously once I got cleared, I could, and that's been way better. But it's really this like trusting, like I'm not going to be afraid. Not sure how good I was at that all the time. Understanding the power and the love, but really the self-discipline part was the part that I felt like I needed. And part of that self-discipline means telling other people where to go or telling other people that's great, but that's not going to be a part of this. Or I like your idea for something different, but it's not going to happen here. So that self-discipline of also honoring yourself. I had some financial goals this year, which I'll tell you what, did not come to fruition because, surgery. Health goals. So checking that box, right? Because that was really representative of just getting some nagging things under control. So I had my hip thing, I had some other things that I was working on. The next thing is, and I want you to do this. Like, if you're not doing this with me, there's no point in you knowing all of this with me. I want you to go back to your vision board and like walk through yours with me and do this analysis. I wanted to get rid of some visceral fat. Didn't do that. I actually put weight on, but when you can't work out, when you're laying in bed for months. I wanted to build more community locally. I, again, wasn't really able to do that. I did try multiple times, and it just wasn't the year for that because, again, my limitations. I wanted to kayak more, but that didn't happen. Go to the beach more did happen, but that was tragic. I was not allowed to walk on sand. Soul sucking. And then Employer Brand Central put tons of attention on that this year. More to come on that for next year. Speaking, that was not something that I was able to focus on necessarily, although we've been working on the website behind the scenes. And then Velvet Machete Leadership Academy, we launched that. Let me see if I have a book handy. I don't have one right here, but we launched that. We have a beautiful workbook. We just took it from where it was to an extreme beautiful place. So let's carry on. We also have well, that's it. So when you look at things in aggregate, it's like I feel proud of what I accomplished this year. It's been a hard year. There's been so much crying this year. There's been so much breaking down of who I don't want to be anymore and who I want to become. And that's painful. Going from a caterpillar to a butterfly is painful, but it's worth it. And so I just encourage you to go through last year's vision board and get kind of a genuine assessment of, did you give it attention, and then how far did you get? I feel like I got pretty decently far in a lot of it, even down to the visceral fat, because while I was on that journey, I found out about my hormones because I was working with a dietitian. So, like, you can see the intention of it being on my vision board got me closer to it. So guess what's going to, definitely be something for next year is this, as opposed to the hip taking front and center, the other things that I was cleaning up that have just been like naggy type things. So please go back and review yours. And then the last thing is you want to add your goals. So I won't get into all of that. Otherwise, this episode will be forever. But my goals, some I made it, Others, absolutely not. And that's a good thing because that goal was not in alignment with what I really wanted, not because I didn't want it at the time, but I didn't understand what that meant. And so just remember, mistakes are, or I don't even want to call it a mistake, but sometimes we do things and we're like, oh, that was stupid. And it wasn't. It was just what you had, it was a step that you had to take to find this out. Like we're always moving forward and activity breeds activity. So while my goals weren't necessarily met this year, I had some significant progress that will forever change my vitality and my livelihood by fixing a very broken part of my body and getting my hormonal support in place so I can thrive next year. So just think about those things. So once you reflect on your past year, we want to move on to next year. So we want to do the 5 things to leave behind for a successful year after we looked at what we accomplished, and then we want to add those 5 things to establish for a successful year. So, number one, again, one person who takes energy and doesn't give energy to you. I literally wrote down anyone who takes more than they give. Anyone, anyone, anyone. I have been told so many times this year that or people ask, are you somebody that often contributes more to your relationships than you actually receive in return? And I love really, really hard, and I do have a really big bandwidth. So there's a part of that that'll maybe always be true. But again, like just shrinking down who I allow to have influence over me because it just happens a ton. A lot is expected of me or asked of me, and then I don't really get a good value exchange back. So we'll get into the strategy next. Okay, so one activity that moves you away from your goals is putting others' needs and wants before mine. Holy cow, am I so expert at that? And I don't even do it like mindfully in real time. If I see that somebody has a need, I act on it. If I see that I can help somebody, I act on it. And I don't think that those are bad things fundamentally. But when you do it too much, you end up being depleted. So this year, I was very aware of how much people project on me, expect of me, demand of me, and then what they're willing to provide for me in exchange for that is not the same. So definitely will be a little more mindful moving forward, a lot more mindful. One belief that has no evidence to support it: I'm crazy. I am crazy. Y'all know I'm crazy, but I'm not like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy. And it's not that I genuinely believe that. Like, I've been through enough mental health over the years with enough different therapists who have all said you are not actually mentally ill or crazy. But y'all know that I do have, and I'm very public about this, not because I want, you to play a violin because I operate just fine every day, thank you. But because I want to normalize it. And I've talked very openly for the entirety of my adult life, because I would rather be the person to tell it myself to make you feel like, oh, this is normal, than for us to all be like passy perfect pants. I'm not for that. So I have CPTSD. The C means complex, meaning that I have been through several traumatic events that really create some challenges for me. So where you might have an experience, is assuming you don't have any form of PTSD, let alone multiple PTSD clumped together called CPTSD. But you might have an experience and then it feels one way to your nervous system. I could have an experience and it's really not about what's going on then. It's about my nervous system responding to what happened before or what happened before multiple times. So that was, just something that I had to work through. And also finding out that my hormones were all screwed up takes into account why my ADD and my OCD were really coming at me this year. There's so many anxiety increases. Ladies, if you haven't had, men too, if you haven't had your hormones tested, please go test them. This would have been really helpful information a long time ago. But again, I thought like, Okay, 2020, we had a pandemic. My business fell apart. I had to recreate my business. I had to, the industries that I served, luxury hotels and entertainment, guess what? They didn't exist. My marriage fell apart that was perfect to everybody. I moved. There's just so many things that happened. I started a new business. I live in a new place. Like, I don't know how to live in Florida. I do now, but I didn't at the time. So I just assumed all these stressors were causing all of these things, and it wasn't. So I'm not crazy. I have a hormonal imbalance that I'm actively trying to correct right now. Go bioidentical hormones. Okay. One tool or expense you don't use or need. I have a lot to clean up there. I highly recommend the tool Rocket Money. It definitely shows you all of your subscriptions, even if it's like your light bill that you have on auto renew or whatever, or auto pay, it'll show up. So it's really easy to do that. And I tend to do it like once a quarter, but I've found some things and I'm like, yep, probably I'm not going to use that. So I need to get rid of those. And it's not about it's not necessarily always about the money or you're going to save some exorbitant amount, but even if you just turned off a $25 car wash that you use once every 2 months, like you can pay that $12 car wash every 2 months, but turning off the $25 a month gets you $300. Again, compared to your salary or your net worth or whatever is minimal. But would you rather just flush it down the toilet or would you rather have like a nice dinner out or maybe an extra room night on a trip? Like there's so many things you could do with $300 other than give it away to not have any value exchange in return. So very much want you to look at that. So again, one person who takes energy and doesn't give energy to you, one activity that moves you away from your goals, one belief that has no evidence to support it, one habit that keeps you from being your best, and number five, one tool or expense that you don't use or need. Now, five things to establish for this successful new year. My word of the year this year is the first year I've ever had a word that wasn't like positive or affirming. You heard mine was overflow last year. Y'all, I did it. I done did it. I picked a word. It's only two letters, and it is the hardest word to stand behind in the English language. And it is no, no, still no. Oh, you've asked a third time? It's still no. It's no. It's no. In most languages, it's no. So the answer is always going to be no. And then I will let you know if I decide to turn that no into a yes. But don't ask me about it. I will let you know. And if you can't honor the fact that I need a day to think about this, then it's a definite no and there's no going back. If my boundaries are crossed, if somebody cannot accept my position, they're gone and it's a no. Period. Done. Okay. Mantra for the year. Aligned expansion. I create with intention, nurture with compassion, and evolve with clarity. That's what aligned expansion means to me. Because y'all know I'm a little different. What matters to most people doesn't matter to me. I live in this whole other space. I'm a spiritual being that's having a human experience. And so while I'm on this rock that's whizzing around the sun, like I want to maximize what I can experience here and what I can do for other people and how I can use my gifts and talents to serve God's children. So, or my fellow humans, or however you want to look at that. When I get into this planning and this like deeper stuff, I am going to talk about my faith, but I don't need for you to believe anything that I believe. Okay, song of the year. This tends to be on my playlist every year. It's one of my favorite songs. I would say top 10 songs ever. It's Tom Petty and it's Running Down a Dream. So let me read you some lyrics for this. Okay. It felt so good, like anything was possible. Hit cruise control and rubbed my eyes. The last 3 days, the rain was unstoppable. It was always cold, no sunshine. So there's like a dichotomy there, and that's like life, right? And so the chorus, for those of you who are not Tom Petty fans like me, or just live in a hole somewhere and have never heard this song in your local TJ Maxx, yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me, working on a mystery, going wherever it leads, running down a dream. And Tom Petty has his opinion of why he wrote that. And the beauty of art is that there's the intention of the artist and then there's the interpretation of the admirer of the art. My interpretation of this is that resilience that thank God God gave me because boy have I needed it in this lifetime. But running down a dream that never would come to me just means like I have a dream, not like Martin Luther King, but I might have a vision for my life and it doesn't pan out the way that I thought. Working on a mystery, well, isn't life kind of a mystery? Going wherever it leads. Like that is the part that I've learned. And it's scary and I'm not always good at it, but just believing that no matter what happens, it's it's going to be the best for me. And I very much believe that things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And so even when things don't go well in our lives, um, there's something in there that we could pull from the ashes, like the rising phoenix, and apply to something in the future. And I have some friends going through it right now, and I've said this to them, and I say it from like the most earnest place of my own misery, of my own discontent, um, but just flowing. That's something that's really hard for me because I've always had to be the person that has all the answers and, knows what to do with everything. And I'm sure that that resonates with you if you're even at all watching me. But learning to just flow with what is, again, that radical acceptance of last year taught me the importance of that because when we try to control things or we try to figure out something that's just not ours to figure out, then that just it causes stress in your body, it causes anxiety, your nervous system responds. That's where illness comes from. Like I'm out on all that. I'm way too old and now apparently I'm perimenopausal, so let's just add that to the list of, good fun things going on. But going wherever it leads, running down a dream. Like I've got my vision, I know. And the crazy thing is you can look at all my personality assessments, human design, astrology, numerology, any of it, any of it. It all points to the same thing, and I'm doing it. What a blessing. So no more complaining about this, that, or the other. I get to do what I'm amazing at, what God designed me to do every single day. And so wherever it goes is where I'm going. So that's my song of the year. Let's get back to the list over here. Um, Song of the year, vision board themes. Okay, so here's how I like to do vision boards. And I like to look at different areas of my life. So here's some categories for your consideration. And as I'm sharing mine, I want you to be thinking about what yours might be in each category. We're doing this together. This isn't the Amber Spills Her Guts show. This is the Amber is showing you what she's doing so that I can help you decide what's right for you in your new year and what you're going to leave behind in the present year. Okay, so the first one is spiritual, mental, emotional. So I picked active meditation. This is how meditation goes for me. I forgive myself for having that thought. I forgive that thought intruding on my meditation. I am breathing in, I am breathing out. I am breathing in, I am breathing out. It's not fun. It's torture. Like I have monkey mind and I do have actually a monkey mind. I could do guided meditations. So like maybe I'll put that in the show notes or the YouTube notes rather or description or whatever it is that we're doing. The other active meditation, and don't y'all laugh, is the speed bag. So I used to box. I know that shocks no one. Like physically in a ring with men punching me in the face and the ribs. It was super fun. But part of warming up for boxing is you have to do so many rounds on like the heavy bag. You have to do so many rounds on the double end bag, and then you have to do so many rounds on the speed bag. And then there's like ab work and shadow boxing and all kinds of stuff that we had to do. And so the one thing that I learned about the speed bag, if you think about it slow, it's the thump, 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 the thump. When you start really going, first of all, just keeping it going at the speed in which I can go on a speed bag is like affirming and like it's goal oriented, which I totally am. Like I'm super competitive and I want to crush it. And but the active meditation part of like the sound of the speed bag thumping, and as you're increasing the pace, it is like the most soothing experience. I could hit a speed bag for forever. Well, I left mine in Tennessee. So we'll see what happens. If I get one for Christmas, then I will have one. If I don't get one for Christmas, guess what I'm buying in January? A speed bag. That active meditation. And when I say meditation, I mean for me, all of you yoga instructors and everything, you can inbox me your nasty grams. For me, meditation is blocking out all of the extra thinking and just kind of creating white noise in my brain, like emptying it out. So, whatever it means to you, good for you. And then I also put Proverbs 3 5 through 6. This is not the first time that I've had this verse on my vision board, but definitely feel like this is the one to put on for 2025, and that is trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Now, if you are not somebody who believes in God at all, or maybe you don't believe in like Jesus Christ, whatever, that's fine. I would invite you, if you would consider this. This is a verse. I'm a Christian, so this goes on my vision board. But I would consider you to just even consider the base of this. So you could even say like, trust in your highest self, trust in the universe. It's the way that we approach things are from a lens that's been conditioned, and we have our previous experiences. We've had all of our bad decisions that we second guess ourselves on. We have our really good decisions that sometimes we have a little too much ego inflation around it. And either way, it's volatile. But when you don't lean on that and you're constantly seeking something higher and you submit to that higher expectation, even if it doesn't make a ton of sense, if you are being your highest self, if you are exploring the greatest expression of your humanity, that's the path, right? That is the path. No matter what's happening around you, that is genuine self actualization. And there's no amount of money, and there's no relationship, and there's no addiction, and there's not even any good sex that's going to replace your need for self actualization. And I mean, there's other things like, food, shelter, all that kind of stuff. We want some relationships and all that kind of stuff, but nothing will replace that pinnacle. So whether you're seeing this as me, as like, I know when God puts things on my heart, I know when I'm ignoring him. I know when I think I know better than God or what the word says. And I'm very liberal in my Christian faith, just for those of you who are like, I'm not what are they calling the weird ones now? Like the people that don't actually act like Christians, Christian nationalists, y'all, that ain't us, okay? Jesus was a hippie who took care of people and had dinner with the tax collectors and the whores. So that's my version of Christian. Anyway, so back to that. So I would pick something for your spiritual, mental, or emotional. That could be starting therapy. That could be, having a feelings journal. That could be, really having more intimate conversations with your partner. It's asking for more vulnerability in your relationships. There's so many things that you could put there that will support you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Okay, health. My vision board has nervous system regulation, reducing visceral fat, and then also glute and leg muscle building. Y'all, oh my gosh. I have we have we have pet names for my derriere because I have no butt, but we're really talking about a donkey. None, like none, because of the surgery and leading up to it and everything. So part of learning how to walk again wasn't like physically just learning how to, for my body to learn how to walk in from post surgery. It was learning how to walk with appropriate gait because I've been quad walking and pulling some other things in, like other like tendons and ligaments and things like that to make my legs go forward because of this injury that was misdiagnosed 7 times, if I haven't told you that. And so like getting my actual glutes to engage is the plan. So And this year, or this time last year, really even before that, I set my intention to have a doctor's appointment with this renowned, like, does the third most hip replacements in the country. I got on his calendar for the first week of January because I was like, I'm going. So I'm not even waiting this year. I'm going today, as the recording of this, to my surgeon to be like, what's up? This ain't working right. And I don't want to screw it up, but I also don't want it to hold me back. So definitely need to get those glute muscles, not just so I can have a cute booty, but so that I have a structurally sound physical body that can support me and like my mobility and moving me across, while I'm walking. All right, kids, I have spent more time with them, which considering we live in three different states, that's asking a lot, but I'm a determined little booger. I have something here with my partner that is more personal. I have something with my other relationships, which is something that I used to do often and I quit doing and I want to get back to because it's really meaningful and it's meaningful for me when I get to experience this. So I want to do that for the people that I care about. And then I have some business, career, and financial goals around there, around how much I want to earn, any other financial goals involved. In the fun, I want to again create and or experience more art. And fun is getting back to using that speed bag. See, it's on there, so it's happening one way or the other. And then the other thing is environments. So environments are really important to me. Anybody who's I'm a event production history. My very first major that I declared in college was interior design. So environments that create a serene and harmonious space is really important to me, and it changes my mood and it changes my energy. So continuing to evolve my outdoor space is high on that priority list, because outside is my favorite room in the house. And then, of course, we're going to create our goals for the new year would be the number five thing to do. So it's word of the year, mantra of the year, song of the year, vision board themes, and then create your goals are the five things to establish for a successful year. And I know that sounds like a lot. I go on a retreat and I work through all of these things. This year I was just like kind of trying to squeeze it in. I've been on multiple trips, but nothing really specific for this. I will probably use a trip that I'm already going on to finish my goals, but it's worth it, y'all. I'm not sure I could have even gotten through this year. I mean, I could because I'm a resilient mofo, but being able to look at my vision board every single morning while I'm taking a shower, while I'm washing my hair, I am physically looking at my vision board. It's literally in my shower. I have one that I keep in my office. It is the screensaver. Oh, reminder to drink water. It's the screensaver on my phone. This is important because what you don't see, you're not going to have any awareness around. You're not going to take any action. So when I just glance over there and I see my mantra is radical acceptance, if I'm in a moment where I don't know what to do with something, then the answer is to radically accept what is and then just go from there. I don't have to things out. I don't have to analyze it. I can just be like, that's what's happening over there, and I'm going to go over here. Like, that's your problem. That's not my problem. Or that is my problem. I have to radically accept that it's my problem, and then I'm going to own that. So keep everything handy. Make sure that you're looking at it every single day, if not, maybe once a week. But the other thing that I want to share with you is I am going to be doing Goal Crushers workshop in January. So give me just a second to share that. Okay, so let's go through what I'm looking at right now. So this is Goal Crushers. It is employerbrandcentral.com, goal dash crushers. And I created this years ago, years and years ago, like literally before I left Gaylord Hotels. It was actually at my departure of the forever 7 or 8 month leave notice that I gave. My team, when I took them out to lunch as kind of one of our final things, was like, okay, we don't know how you keep everything going because we did 130 something events a year. We had at least, 100 something communication pieces, and that is on the light side. Like there's so much going on at the same time. Also, it is a 2,881 room hotel resort. plus all the convention space, plus all of our attractions like Wild Horse Saloon, which is now something else, and the General Jackson Showboat and the golf course. Like there was a lot going on. And so they're like, how do you decide what the priority is? How do you set goals? How do you make the entire plan for the year? Because we had to make the plan, go defend the plan to our senior vice president, and then we operated on that plan. And that took an immense amount of Jenga-ish planning. So I created a process. I later called it Glamour Goals. But even with that, y'all, this has been in law firms. This has been in Fortune 100 companies. This has been in large hospitality brands. Like I've done Glamour Goals with men and women, but I understand that it's very feminine. So we now call it Goal Crushers, and I've enhanced it just like everything else that I've created over the years. It's like, let's just take it to the next level. So I want you to set goals that you can actually crush. Like I want you to be realistic about it. And so I don't want you to have wishful thinking. I want you to have powerful proven results. And I don't want you to get in on like, it's like October 15th. You're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to meet my goals? Well, you're not at this point because you haven't been working on them all year. So we're going to kick things off with a master class. I want you to walk away from that masterclass with goals so clear and plans so actionable that you will be set up for success. I don't want you to be overwhelmed, overcommitted. I don't want any uncertainty keeping you from your biggest dreams. So this is not another goal setting session. This is actually something that I'm going to teach you that is going to help you for years to come. So if you want to be able to have some check-ins en route to the end of the year, this is for you. If you're a high achiever who might be hard on yourself and you need some accountability and some realistic expectations, this is for you. If you are done saying, I'm going to, I'm going to, I'm going to, and you actually want to win, this is for you. So the outcomes themselves, you'll have your annual plan and maybe not completely fleshed out throughout the workshop, but hopefully pretty close. We're going to identify what meaningful goals you can move towards, and then like how are we going to test those goals to make sure that they're really something that you can crush, that it's actionable, that it's meaningful, that it's going to move you towards the person you want to become. Then we're going to create a scoreboard so that you have a way to track your progress. And then I want you to guard your focus. So we're going to talk about the things that could get in the way of it, and we're going to come up with solutions of what you're going to do. Because if you fail to plan, you're going to plan to fail. And so this is something that I naturally do. Maybe it's the PR person in me, but I'm like, what's everything that can go wrong? Let me have a plan for all of that, and then we're going to move forward. That can be unhealthy to the extreme, but it's pretty good for goal setting. Obviously, you get to work with me. I will be the person conducting this, and I've been doing this for years. So here's some of the things that you can expect by the end of this masterclass. I will not read them all to you. You just go here. This is the part I want. This is the add-on. This is the add-on. So not only are you going to get the 5 for 5 as part of your digital journal, or the get rid of 5, add 5 as part of that digital journal, there's other things that we're going to be able to use that journal for. Now, it's not like a physical journal, it's not fancy pantsy, but it is a digital journal. You can print them off and fill them out, or you can, work with it online, whatever you want to do. But I have that in place because I want something physical that you can track these on and not just a spreadsheet. And I also want to have you process how you're doing throughout the year. Progress check-ins. So we will be sending you email reminders to help you to review and adjust your goals throughout the year. And so that's going to be like, don't forget to use this part of your planner. This is quarterly. So we need to use a quarterly planner for this. This is monthly. So get out the monthly worksheet for this. And it's all one big journal together, but you can just, download one sheet or work with it however you want. I have some people who print things out, they put it in a beautiful binder. And maybe next year this will graduate to an actual physical product, which I would love, but not enough time this year. However you like to do it, I want you to commit to it. And then journal prompts. So every week I'll be sending you a journal prompt, because goal setting isn't about like putting checks in boxes. Goal setting is moving you closer to what you want in your life. That could be business, that could be personal, whatever it is. You can't compartmentalize. Business, personal is all the same. But I will send you a prompt every single week to ensure that you've got something to noodle on, whether you actually write it out, which I strongly encourage you to do because there's power in that neurologically, or if you just, maybe contemplate on it or meditate on it or pray about it or whatever your bag is, that will happen for 52 weeks, right? And then you never know, we're discover and delight kind of people. So once you're in my world, I think it's pretty well known that I like to take care of you. I consider you mine and my responsibility. So I will always find ways to make your life easier. If you've come to me and you're trusting me to guide you through significant things like this, I take that very, very seriously. So I don't know how long this episode is going to be. It's been a minute since I've been on the mic. So, brevity is not my spiritual gift. But I hope that you have either listened to this and thought through your own experience of last year and reflecting on how did we do in 2024? And then what are we going to leave in 2024? And then what are we going to add to 2025? And I certainly want you to join Gold Crushers. All the information will be in there. I'm making it affordable. Remember, it is a workshop, a live workshop where I'm going to walk you through things. It is a journal and it's 52 weeks of email support. And I might have some pop ups and who knows. So, if that sounds like something that you want, I encourage you to become a part of it. And yes, those of you who have taken it before, you don't have to pay again. You're about to get an email. So once you're in my world, you're in my world. And then we keep working year over year because I am a relationship person. And if you're trusting me, I'm going to trust you and we're going to get this done together. So I hope you had a much better 2024 than I did. I had some beautiful moments in 2024 as well. I don't want to make it sound like it was a terrible, terrible year. It was just a very challenging year. God, thank you for those challenges. Thank you for giving me the reps right now to prepare me for where I'm going next, for the strength that I'm going to need, for the discipline that I'm going to need, for the velocity that I'm going to have to go, and for the atmosphere I'm going to exist in. Because right now I got my butt kicked at base camp in Everest. But if I'm ever going to climb Everest, I better be equipped to do it, right? So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. And I hope that you have a beautiful holiday season. Come check out Gold Crushers, and I will see you on my next video.